McLaren's highly anticipated MCL40 took to the racetrack in Barcelona yesterday, and while on first glance it may look like a very plain, simplistic design, that couldn't be further from the truth. There are many areas through which a lot of attention to detail can be seen, more so than on any other car. These include the front wing, the sidepod treatment, and of course their wakeboard area. So without further ado, let's go over every interesting bit of detail on this MCL40. And as always, let's start with the front wing. This is without doubt the most sophisticated front wing we've seen on any of the 26 cars thus far. It has an attention to detail not seen on any of the other cars, and you can bet your life this is what they will be racing with come that first race in Australia. Now, there are design features not seen on any other car, particularly if we look at the front ring end plate's dive plane. This has a level of downrush orientation which we have not seen on any of the other cars. From this side-on angle, you can very much see where they're looking to manage the airflow from the mid-front tyre wake. Essentially what they're doing is pulling the lower portion of that tyre wake outboard to make outwash essentially here. And that also is in conjunction with the overall design of the front wing. If we look at the front wing end plate, it has a distinct design, a distinct curvature not seen on any other car thus far. The end plates feature a very aggressive twist, with the upstream leading edge pointing almost inwards and then twisting outwards, and more than likely generating outwash. We also can see the small linkage for the front actuator, which is totally hidden in the nose. This will give a very clean aero design as a result of it, with minimal disruptions to the airflow. The front ring elements are heavily mid-span loaded and then back off at full regulation allowances in terms of the radius towards the end plate. This is likely generating some upwash travel through the suspension geometry downstream. Again, even though we haven't begun talking about the front suspension, it is a reason why they went to a pushrod configuration. Now, before going any further with this breakdown of the MCL40, I'm running a competition throughout preseason testing. It's on the screen right now what you can win, which is a couple of old school 1990s Ferrari merchandise with a photo of the launch with Michael Schumacher. All you've got to do is be subscribed to the channel, comment on this video, and at the end of preseason I will put a community post out with the winner being announced in it. Alright, let's get on with the rest of this technical breakdown. Now let's focus on the front suspension, with McLaren having switched from a pull rod to a now push rod layout, which is considered more aerodynamically suited to the new regs, and it's been chosen in conjunction with what they've done with that front wing. Just like with the suspension on the MCL39, the MCL40 carries on the same learnings taken with that previous car and have applied it to the new pushrod layout, which is the multi-link front suspension setup. Primarily aims of these are to help with tyre management and the amount of dive with the front of the car. Now let's turn our attention to the wakeboard, which is focusing specifically on the floor performance. And it is visually striking because it is very much different from the majority of the other teams' designs and layouts. Now, what is different is you have to note there's a lower section and an upper section with how they've designed it. Now, there's two lower sections of the floorboard. Initially, it is almost in a pure outwashing design. This is represented by this kind of almost squared dash view, which kind of flicks almost upwards and downwards. But then the secondary section of that is simply what we're seeing across all of the other cars' treatments of the wakeboard. You can see it on the Ferrari as well very clearly, but that is having a larger overall portion or section of the wakeboard in its initial design. Further back, you can also see a triple slotted floor edge in this image on screen right now. And then interestingly, as I've alluded to in the intro of this video, they're missing something that some of the other teams have introduced. and that is the cutout in the diffuser. The McLaren seemingly doesn't have one. The reasons behind why that is, only the team will truly know, and it's something to keep an eye on to see whether they introduce it later on in pre-season testing, potentially in Bahrain. Up next we have the Sidepod region. Now this is something that I've noticed a lot during the initial pictures we got. While it is very much in a similar design style to that of the Audi, it has taken that to a far more sophisticated and optimized level than they could potentially ever achieve. And I think you can see that with just the level of the actual chassis on view here. If I brighten the image up, a lot of the chassis wall is pretty much bare and open. So there is a massive undercut on this Sidepod, which we haven't necessarily seen across any of the other teams to this degree. The Sidepod also features a heavy downwash component on the top surface of it, again with the aim of having the airflow directed straight down into the diffuser and Coke bottle region of their rear of the MCL40. Again, very much keeping in line with what all of the teams are aiming to do, but with a little bit more of a finalized design is what I would put it as. Another thing to notice and to pay attention to is the engine cover. They, just like Ferrari, have followed a similar design path and included serrated or jagged edges, however you want to describe it, on their engine cover, and this is to do with movement through the corners and reducing the amount of it as a result of having this there. It's just a way of controlling something engineers and drivers do not want to have through corners. This should also give the drivers a little bit more of a confidence boost in terms of their feeling. It's going to give them a more finalized understanding of what the car will do. And that pretty much wraps up the MCL40's initial analysis of what we've been given thus far. It's a car which I think has spent a lot of time in the wind tunnel. There are certain areas which will see a further evolution or revolution with, and that maybe will come later on in the season as they've already stated. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the breakdown. If you have, leave a like, subscribe if you're new here to the channel, and I will see you all later today in Aston Martin's breakdown video once they've hit the track. See you then.